Fáilte go dtí our Learn the Lore 21-day challenge with myself, Lora O'Brien. And if you are just joining us, then do pop over to the irishpaganschool.com, and that's www.irishpaganschool.com. And you will be able to join our Learn the Lore challenge and see our previous day's videos and all the rest of it up there. It's all free. So do join in. You will have 3 weeks to learn more about the Irish lore. And today we are going to continue our look through the Dinnshenchas, the lore of place names. And we are specifically looking at the River Barrow, the lore of the River Barrow. And we have done the metrical or poetic Dinnshenchas in previous videos. So do go back and check those out, previous 2 days videos. And what we're going to be looking at today is the prose Dinnshenchas. And this is more a story rather than a poem, and more descriptive, I suppose. So this is where we get some extra information, or sometimes different information than what we get in the metrical or poetry Dinnshenchas. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen as usual. We're in the office today so that I can show you the workings of my computer. So actually do that. And we're going to read out the lore. So, sorry, this is from the ucd.ie website. So it's the University College Dublin. And this is the Whitley Stokes, who is a different, we've been working with Edward Gwynn. And this time we're looking at Whitley Stokes. And so that would be the editor and the translator of this version, the prose tales in the Wren Dinnshenchas. And if we pop back to our, the Wren Dinnshenchas is a manuscript edition, I believe, yes. So it's here, it's from the, it's from Wren, I presume, is a place name. It looks French, forgive my ignorance. But, so I'm not 100% where the source of that is, but it is a particular manuscript, so that's why it's called the Wren Dinnshenchas. And we are going to go down again, and we have been looking at verse 13, poem 13, in the metrical Dinnshenchas. But I believe this is on a different number. No, it's still 13. Okay, awesome. So they're matching up. They don't often. There's another one, the Bodleian. Am I pronouncing that right? Let me see it. Yeah, Bodleian Dinnshenchas. So that is slightly different again. And that, well, we haven't got there yet, so we might have a look at that as well. So I'm going to read out the poem for the River Barrow. Berba. Mecha, son of the Mórrígan, in him were the 3 hearts, till Mac Cecht killed him on Mac Mechi, which till then had been named Mac Fertagi. Thus were those hearts, with the shapes of 3 serpents through them. Now, if death had not befallen Mecha, the serpents in him would have grown, and what they left alive in Ireland would have wasted away. Then Mac Cecht burnt those hearts on Mac Luahat, the plain of ashes, and cast their ashes with the stream, whereupon the rapids of the river stayed, and every creature therein died and boiled. Or maybe it was on Ard Luchri, height of ashes, that he burnt the hearts, whence Berba is said, and Mac Mechi and Ard Luchri. Or Berba may be a compound of ber, or beer, water, and ba, dumb, whence is said Berba, that is, dumb water. So we have that prose which looks at associated place names as well, not just the River Barrow, but the Plain of the Ashes, and Mac Mechi there is the Plain of Mecha. So it used to be called Mac Fertagi. Fertagi? Fertagi. Not really 100% sure how to pronounce that. A lot of these words, by the way, are Old Irish, and I have modern Irish pronunciation, so I might not be getting them perfect as per the academic agreement on how Old Irish should be pronounced, which, you know, is again more educated guessing, but it's a standardized educated guessing now. So we have general agreement on how Old Irish should be pronounced, but I never learned that because I have modern Irish, so I should have actually been more clear about that. My modern Irish pronunciation is a mix of dialects as well, so it's standardized. Whoever was teaching me in primary or secondary school, so it could be from any of the dialects really, but I think mostly it's a mixture of Munster and Connacht, with primarily Munster maybe for most of my words, but don't worry about that too much. Just follow along as best you can and you'll be doing better than most people. So what I would like to do, just moving on from there, is to look at again a modern scholar's translation of the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to Morgan Daimler's blog. And Morgan Daimler is an author, and just in case you're not familiar, living in Connecticut, but does a lot of translations of Old Irish themselves. And author has a Patreon, which is amazing. Go and join it. A lot of books on the She, the Good Neighbours here in Ireland, the Fairies, and a lot of, as I said, translation works. So they have done a translation here of the prose Dinnshenchas. So their translation reads, Berba, why this name? Not difficult. Mecha was a son of the Mórrígan, and he had 3 hearts, until he was killed by Machecht at Machmechi. Machfertagi is the name of the plain before that. This way were those hearts, with 3 forms of 3 serpents. Moreover, if not for the death of Mecha, the serpents would have grown to the end and consumed, therefore, all life in Ireland. Then Machecht burnt the hearts where Mach Luahat, burned the hearts there at Mach Luahat, throwing the ashes in the course of the river, so that the rapids in the stream died and brought death to every animal there, and boiling. Or else he may have destroyed them in Ard Luhard, or he burnt them. So Berba is said, and Machmecha and Ard Luhard. Or it is called Berba, that is bear or bear, water, and Ba, that is Balav, silent, whence Berba is called silent water. So just to read out the rest of Morgan's blog, because they actually reference Dahio Hogan and Marion Green, so it's interesting kind of extra information. From this short entry in the Ren Dinnshenchas, we learn that the Mórrígan had a son named Mecha, and that Mecha had 3 hearts, which contained serpents who, if allowed to grow, would consume all life in Ireland. Serpents often appear in Irish myth as symbols of destruction, and the description of the serpents here follows that, since if they are freed from the hearts, they will consume and take all life in Ireland. Reference Green, 1992. Because of this, Dinnshenchas killed Mecha and burned the 3 hearts to ash, destroying the serpents. Interestingly, Dinnshenchas appears in other stories also fighting serpents, and in other tales also battles and defeats a monstrous serpent or dragon near the River Barrow. Reference Hogan, 2006. It is likely that his appearance here as the person who had to kill Mecha is significant as well, and could indicate that the 3 snakes may have represented plagues. Even in death, though, the snakes were deadly, and when Dinnshenchas threw the ashes into the River Barrow, they stilled the waters and killed all the living things in the river, emphasizing the danger they represented. So I must check with them actually. I'm not 100% sure why they switched from Machecht to Dinnshenchas here. We did discuss that in yesterday's video. Machecht is a different person to Dinnshenchas in the lore, although obviously they have a similar last part of their name. They are two different characters. So I just wanted to clarify that. So your action point for today is to re-examine where you were coming from with your previous kind of thinking about the River Barrow and thinking about Mecca. And I'm going to introduce the idea of the Mórrígan here as she has come up. And note that personally, I don't really believe that this is an actual physical son of the Mórrígan. I don't think that this is a child that she had, and I just kind of wanted to be very clear on that. I believe that there may, I mean, at a stretch, there may have been a priest of the Mórrígan who called himself the son of the Mórrígan, whose, you know, story got mixed up in this somehow. Or there could be, now this is supposition, obviously, hopefully, obviously. It could be that the Mórrígan, who was often demonized in the texts when her name was being recorded, or their names being recorded, that because it was like a poison or a plague or a monster or however we're reading Mecca, that the association was made with the Mórrígan, who was the, you know, the mother of demons or a mother of demons or a likely mother of demons or monsters or plagues. So that would be my reading on it. But I'm very interested in your take on if you have, your action point is if you have any, if you've changed your mind on anything as we've gone through further readings of the Dinnshenchas entry for the Barrow, and your take on Mecca's relationship to the Mórrígan, or who that might be or what that might be, which could be very different to mine, and that's fine. And I have read various other kind of scholarly takes on it, and that's the one, you know, that's the one I keep coming back to, is that there is an association, either, as I said, with either a priest or just a general association of this bad thing must have come from the Mórrígan because she is bad also. So let me know what you think and where your heads are at with that. And do, if you're watching this outside the lore challenge, do like and subscribe, hit the bell, and share it as well. Share the challenge. Go into the irishpaganschool.com and grab the link and invite your friends, share it in groups. If you're late to the challenge, this is running in January initially, but if you're late to the challenge or watching it after January, don't worry about it, because there's loads going on in the Irish Pagan School, and this will be available free up there, and it will still drip feed through. I've set it up so that it's going to, even after the 21-day challenge is done, and with all of us working through it, still going to drip feed so that people will be able to take it day by day again. Okay, so slán go fóill, and I will see you tomorrow.